Hello and welcome. I wanted to talk about my photography editing workflow, how I cull and edit photos quite fast on the go for sports primarily, but this can apply to anything else. I'll be using Photo Mechanic and Lightroom Classic for this, and you might be asking, why don't I only use Lightroom? Well, the Photo Mechanic itself, if you don't know, isn't necessarily an editing software. It's more so a software where you do your selects, where you really go through a large amount of photos very fast. And for that very reason, I wouldn't want to do that in Lightroom. Photo Mechanic is very, very fast, especially for large quantities of photos. It works super well if you have hundreds or thousands of photos from a shoot and you just want to run through it really fast and then bring the edit into a different software such as Lightroom. I'll demonstrate exactly how it works now if you're not fully aware of it, but I can promise that it is quite a bit of a faster process in Photo Mechanic to do these things, especially at high quantities. So without further ado, I'm going to plug in a card, ingest it using Photo Mechanic. So this came up for me automatically, but if when you're in Photo Mechanic, if you select File and Ingest down here, or Command NG on Mac, this window should come up. Whenever you're ingesting, I would very much recommend to ingest into two places. So I'd recommend copying over your JPEG and RAW files, if you're shooting both, into two places. One of those places should be a backup drive. This should be a drive that you literally dump everything into after you're done a shoot. You don't touch it unless you really need to. And then the other place should be your laptop, where you'll be doing your selects from, where you'll be editing. And then at the end, whenever we're done with all of that, we'll be able to copy it onto a different drive, so then you have that backed up as well. So I'm going up here in the top right, choosing primary destination. I'm going to go into my desktop and create a new folder. I'm going to call this sample game edit underscore 020426. That's just a naming convention that I use. In here, I would call one original, and I would also make another folder in the sample game edit folder, and I would call this back up. Cool. I will go back into the sample game edit folder and go into the original folder and make another folder in here, and I will call this 01 all. I will create this, I will press open, and this is the primary destination that I want the ingest to happen. So all of the new photos that are coming into my drive from the SD card are gonna go in there. But I also, as you might have figured out, want a secondary ingest. So I press on that, and this will go into the backup folder, open, and I'm fine with all of the photos just being dumped in here. So I'm not going to create any more subfolders, and we'll stick with this. And depending on what you do, you might need metadata in with your photos. For the purpose of this, I'm not going to use metadata, but if you needed that, you can press apply here, press on metadata, fill in whatever you need. Again, for the purpose of this, I think metadata is quite specific to whatever you need it for. This is going to be quite a generic example, so I'm not going to include any metadata talk. I'm going to press ingest. As you might have noticed, I missed the option which says under copy photos into dated folder only. You don't want this selected really, because it'll just make you an extra subfolder. So you should click on that and change that directly into primary and secondary folders. So now I'm in Photo Mechanic. I'm going to select the first photo. I'm going to press full screen, and using the arrows on my keyboard, I'm just going to fly through these, and I'm going to select whatever I feel appropriate to be part of my selects. I'm going to use the numbers on my keyboard. So on Photo Mechanic, I believe between 1 and 8, each of the numbers set a color to your photo. That way you can mark the photos however you please. So for the purpose of this, I'm just going to use number 2, which is yellow for me, and I'm going to mark a few photos that I like. There's no need for me to select the full range of the photos here, but I just chose a few as an example, and then I quit that preview window as you could have seen a second ago. Now, in order for me to hide all of the photos that aren't color marked, I'm going to press this button over here, so that hides the color class none. And this way only the photos which I have color coded are being displayed right now. So what I'm going to do with these is press Command and A, and that way all of the colored photos are selected. I'm going to right click on this, and then I'm going to press Copy/Move Selected Photos. And the shortcut for this is Command Y on Mac. When I do this, I'm going to make sure that process both RAW and JPEG files is on, because I want this. Copy WAV files is unnecessary. Here I'm going to make sure that Move Photos is not selected, because that way the photos are being deleted from the original folder. For the sake of maintaining everything as close to the files that I originally got from the card in that old folder, I'm going to make sure that that is not ticked, which it is, and that's great. I'm going to have to set a destination for these photos, so I will press this folder, I will press the 3 dots. Now I'm going to go into the original folder here in the sample edit folder, and here I will make a new folder called 02 selects and press open. So all of the photos are going to be moved into, or rather copied into the selects folder the moment I press copy. That way they're in the original folder, but now I go into select, and here I can access the photos that are my selects. So now I can go through these and edit them. How I'm going to do this is, well, making sure that I'm addressing the selects folder and not the old folder anymore. I'm just going to close this and this. I'm going to press Command A to select all. Then I'm going to press Command E, which is the shortcut for editing those photos with an external software, so outside of Photo Mechanic. As you can see, this little notification comes up for me, and this is because I don't have Lightroom loaded up on Photo Mechanic yet on this device. So I'm just going to go into settings. After I go into settings, I'm going into launching. Here, default application to edit photos, assign default application, Adobe Photoshop. I'm going to choose a different one. As for the purpose of this, I'm going to use Adobe Lightroom Classic, and that is fine. We'll press OK. We're back in here. So now I'm going to press Command A again, Command E to edit the photos within Lightroom. So this window is going to pop up. I'm going to press Import. So now we have the photos in Lightroom, and let's say I'm happy with this one and another one which I've edited. I won't go through that as this is not what the tutorial is about, but I will export. Then we'll click on this option. We'll export to a specific folder, and then we'll go back into the sample game edit folder which we had. We'll get in there, we'll go into the original, we'll make another folder on top of that, we'll call it 03 edit, and here we will choose this. We don't want to select put into subfolder. We want to make sure that we're exporting in JPEG. We'll limit the file size to 2 megabytes just so it's a nice, easy shareable file. That's usually how I export, so I'm just going to press export on this. That's fine, don't show again. And now I'm going to go into the edit folder, and as you can see, we have those two images which are edited and ready to go send to the client, do whatever we need to do with them. So yes, the original folder, then you'll be able to access this. You'll have all of the photos as well if you ever feel like you need to add to any of your selects. If you ever feel like you need to add to any of your edits from your selects, you can easily go back in here and modify the original raw files which you had. And then finally the edit folder, that's where all your finished photos are that you can easily showcase to your client or add to your portfolio or whatever you want to do with them. So I think this is quite a nice, efficient way of doing things. I didn't talk about things like naming conventions, backing up photos into cloud storage for easy access. This is just a sort of skeleton, something that I would, I guess, adjust with each month and with each year, depending on my current workflow. But, you know, take this workflow as quite generic and try to build on top of it and try to adjust it so it meets your needs exactly. Thanks so much. Hope you took something out of it. Let me know if you did, and all the best.